Hello and welcome everybody on today's corporate presentation. My name is Claudia Eifert and I very much welcome everybody from all around the world. It's great to have you here. It's great that we see so many people from so many places. It's fantastic. So the world is connected. We are all home. We cannot go out, and that is worldwide. So we are all in the same boat, as we say. I have with me the founder and CEO of Utopian Global, Bill Rowell, live from Dubai. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Claudia. Welcome everyone to the call. Great to be here.
And I have the CEO of STORH, Ryan Messer, on the call. I don't see the camera yet. I hope this is coming on. Hello, Ryan.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Sorry,
but
you
I don't
can't
see
me.
you.
I'm in movement towards a computer that I can
okay.
share my camera.
We're waiting for that. Good.
Okay. All right.
Okay, that's great. Well, while we are waiting for Ryan to come on board, so I want to just very quickly give you a very short, because we have lots of people who have never listened to the presentation, just a very brief story, an overview, and then we're going to go into Q&A. Yes, you see here on the screen, Utopian Global, real assets, real income, and real lifestyle. Now, the company Utopian Global exists since 2008. The founder, as you see, is Bill Rowell, and he launched a platform by providing precious metals to the ordinary man. He's going to explain this a little bit about why he did so. So since 2008, we are operational. We have different products and services, from education as well to income producing assets. Now, why Ryan Messer is here on board is because we do have one of our products, which is called STORH, which is an independent company, but we are the marketing platform. We are marketing for STORH. And so we all, and we're going to discuss this a little bit, because today is going to be a very different presentation as normally. We all, I believe, we can all agree now that we are living in a very interesting, frightening time right now, never experienced in our lifetimes. And we have certainly a very stark financial and environmental reality. We have an imbalanced global financial system. We have a rising government debt. We have a global plastic crisis looming, and we have high global consumption. So the population is growing, needing more and more resources, and of course a lot of plastic is basically in the rivers, in the oceans, in the landfills, which is damaging our environment. Now, the Utopian Global ecosystem, what do we do, or what are we? Well, we are a marketing platform where we market different products and services. One of them is STORH. STORH, where Ryan is going to talk a little bit about it, stands for Sustainable Technology and Resource Holding, earn from income producing energy assets via the STORH platform. And well, what do I mean by that? Well, through, of course, Utopian Global, we have raised funds for STORH. Basically crowdfunded funds for STORH, which then STORH purchased real assets, such as in the oil industry right at the moment, because Ryan Messer comes from oil and gas, from natural resources, from midstream, everything which has to do with the blending, mixing of oil. And so STORH is this platform which invests in real income producing assets. We also are gonna, of course, invest in different assets. There's in the midstream space, in the value chain, in plastic recycling, in mineral mining, etc., etc. So STORH is this platform. We do crowdfund money for it, and of course this produce income. It's not available in the United States, but we do have other great products for the United States. You see here on the second icon there, what we market is wealth. Safeguard your wealth by savings in precious metals. Well, the company launched in 2008. Why? Well, because of what Bill had learned about gold and silver, and in looking for income producing assets, and in looking for stability for things which of course are generational wealth. And so when Bill started the company, he wanted to help people give this understanding, that knowledge which teachers had passed on why gold and silver, why the importance of gold and silver, because gold and silver of course never loses value, while any other paper currency against gold always do. So we, of course, have our unique collectible coins as well, bullion bars, which we provide from the largest refinery, Argo Horias, Swiss refinery. We store it, we ship it for you. We have an education platform as well where you can learn from really great wealth experts. We have many presentations on from Carolita Oliveros, who wrote or co-wrote some of the books of Robert Kiyosaki, if you know him. And we do have other great wealth coaches, advisors there, which are giving regularly presentations. And of course, we have the marketing platform. The marketing platform, well, when you want to market the products and services, you got to get out. You got to get the product out. You got to promote it. And of course, our people, when they join our marketing business, they're gonna get exactly rewarded for bringing customers to STORH, for bringing customers to our gold or silver products and our educational products, and they're getting rewarded for that. So this is in a nutshell what we are doing, without going too deep into basically now the presentation, because we do a lot of presentations, but we wanted to do a little bit different today. So now I have talked enough. I want to, of course, bring Bill and Ryan on the call. Bill, as I said, he's a licensed precious metals dealer in the DMCC in Dubai. Ryan Messer, he has many years of background in the oil and gas industry. So sectors which are, you know, right now, of course, the energy sector is a sector which is essential. It's not being shut down. Gold or silver has actually never been shut down, the refineries, but now because of COVID, well, they had to they had to shut them down because the workers basically are in those affected areas. So I have here something very bold on at the discussion table today for you guys. And you see it for the first time as well, Ryan and Bill. So how to arrange your wealth now for a post-COVID. That is pretty, you know, scary a little bit, and we don't want to scare people. We want to, of course, give you options, and we want to give you hope, and we want to give you systems and what you can do now. We want to prepare you. So as you see, in this CBS News article, it said income inequality in America is at its highest level in more than 50 years. And after a decade of unprecedented central banking intervention to inflate asset prices, boost economy activity, and drive unemployment levels to historic lows. If these are good times, it says the article here, dare we ask what awaits us when the everything bubble bursts? Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
My first question is this fake news?
No. That's a good one.
No, sorry, I just had to have a sense of humor here under these very difficult times for most people. Well, inequality is not just in America. Inequality is global, is a global epidemic. Actually, we've seen the shrinking of the middle class, really primarily expanding since 2008. Now, why would that happen? Well, and Ryan, jump in at any time, but primarily we've had the expansion of the monetary supply. We had the bailout of the big banks, trillions of dollars pumped into bailouts, of course, and we've even seen in the last years much of that money's flowed back into company buybacks and things, but primarily we see a world now where 1% of the world's population controls nearly, I think, 90% of the world's wealth, or 60 of the top billionaires in the world control, I think, over 60% of the world's wealth or something like that. So there's certainly a global imbalance going on right now. Now, as a precious metals trader, and providing precious metals to our members since 2008. Primarily, as you expand the monetary supply, of course, goods and services cost more money, and economies are not been growing in one sense. So there's a disparity between the growth of the monetary supplies and the growth of the economies. So in a short term, primarily is because of the economic expansion of the monetary supply from European central banks and central banks around the world and Federal Reserve, these types of things. Our paper money is buying less and less, and incomes haven't been rising at the same rate. So people are finding it very difficult. Middle class is absolutely shrinking. We see that. We see it because of this current epidemic, like here in Dubai, for example. If you don't work, you don't get paid. India, if you don't work, you don't get paid. Pakistan, 220 million people. If you don't work, you don't get paid. Brazil, probably over 200 million people. If you don't work, you don't get paid. Nigeria, if you don't work, over 200 million people. If you don't work, you don't get paid. So the Western world, of course, we're looked after much better there. But for most people out there, the globe is in a very, very different situation. So to me, the ownership of real assets is really key. And people have moved to safety. He says here, are my bank savings safe? Should I switch to my super cash? Well, I was listening to some reports today, talking to one of the major traders here in Dubai. I asked him about the gold souk. He said the gold souk, his words were frozen on the physical supply. He used the word frozen. So there's no movement in the gold souk whatsoever in Dubai, which is absolutely incredible. The first time, primarily. It would be decades, I would say. I can't remember it. So I asked him about Switzerland. He said incredible. His words were on my WhatsApp message, tons of gold moving to the banks. So the banks are buying up gold. We know that the Chinese central bank, and we also know that Russia central bank have been buying up, and Turkish central bank have been buying up lots of precious metals. But the primary, what they're sort of indicating, they're moving to safety. Gold is safety, been liquid in cash is safety. Only real assets such as oil and gas, real assets which have value, is in one sense safety, even though we have the fluctuation in oil and gas prices right now, which I'm sure Ryan's going to touch on. But that's my sort of take on it, Ryan. Yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I look at what's going on, and it's disheartening. I mean, we've already had, I mean, most governments already have are running a deficit in terms of their budgets. The U.S. probably the largest. We had, I think, $23 trillion in debt before this. Who knows what and how many dollars we're going to print as a result of this? And you question, was this the right move? Ultimately, you know, I hate sort of, you know, people that, as we call it in the United States, Monday morning quarterback, is when you sort of judge the game after the game's over, right? So everybody's hindsight's always 20/20 is another way to put it. So I think everyone's sort of looking at the decisions that we've made around this COVID situation and thought, well, is the destruction of the economy worth it, considering, you know, that I guess the mean worker age is around, you know, low to mid 40s, who are less vulnerable people. And then you look at how many, you know, how much of our currency we're going to print. We're talking $2 trillion up to $6 trillion. They're just numbers at this point. So I look at things like commodities, and I think ultimately they've got to be the survivors. Of course, gold. I mean, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. But if not gold, then oil, because oil at these prices, and no other alternative fuel can compete. And I say fuel, I don't mean like gasoline or diesel. I mean any other type of fuel, wind, you know, tidal, all these other things. They're all perfectly good, and they're great for our infrastructure. They're great long term. But I just wonder, you know, how are these green agendas going to survive without more government spending to subsidize them if oil is as low as it is? So I think the result of that is the price of oil is not going to stay low for very long. And right now we've got a supply issue to the downside. I think coming out of this, not in the very near future, but sometime this year, I think we're going to have a supply issue on the other side. And so, I mean, I can obviously speak to the United States and how we've become energy independent, quote unquote. That meaning we export more oil than we import, because we're typically our worst enemies when it comes to finding hydrocarbons, right? We did it with the natural gas industry. I saw $14 natural gas. Price of natural gas right now is $1.70. And now, of course, we're exporting a tremendous amount of natural gas and building all these LNG plants. And we've done the same thing with oil, right? So when I got in the business, 90-something% of the rigs were just drilling vertical wells, hardly any fracking at all. And now 90-something% of the rigs, it's completely flip-flopped, are now shale drilling. So it's very low margin, takes an extreme amount of money to keep that treadmill going. And so the banks have to be behind that. And those types of reserves need $45 to $55 oil. We're a far cry from that right now. And so our production just naturally is going to decline by about 2 million barrels just in this year alone, just in straight decline. We've lost 40% of the rigs that were drilling over the last year. We've already made a migration away from traditional oil, but I speak to that because obviously we do have an oil producing asset as part of the portfolio. And a lot of people ask a lot of questions about that. So my point is, I think it will come back and things will equalize. I think it will take some time. But in terms of inequality, yeah, I mean, it's an unfortunate thing, especially for those who have retirement funds that are in equities and have potentially lost 30 to 40% of their wealth, or call it retirement. So I would just encourage people to think about things from a very simplistic perspective. What are things that we absolutely need? You know, and so now we look back at 2017 at some of these crypto projects and we think, why did we spend money on those things? Why did we think, you know, these sort of crazy blue sky projects were going to get off the ground? Well, as we found out, most of them haven't. So I think this is a return back to simple things. So go back to core assets. That's why I love commodities. That's why I love real estate. And of course, with what we do and energy, it's always going to be needed. So long term, we're going to be the winners out of all this.
And guys, I have put up here a slide, as you see, because, you know, there's a lot of talk about, we are, of course, in the midst of well, we know that we are in the midst of something we have never experienced before, but also in the Great Depression, so which really hasn't happened in terms of how fast stocks did fall, in terms not just the fast, but I mean in this short time frame, and how deep they did fell, how big they rebounded again. So we are in all this mass, of course, still coming out from 2007, 2008, where they bailed out the big banks. Well, now, of course, they are doing what they are doing, of course, best, that is knowing how to print more money. We have this huge, you know, concentration, of course, of the income. So there's this huge imbalance, and you see this middle class is really so much shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and they put us more and more laws, which they silently basically put up on us. We don't even know. I mean, there's every day a new law in one country, unfortunately, putting up. So of course, where do you guys see this is actually hitting? My personal view is eventually it will cause riots, because I mean, look at, we have lots of people, I speak on a daily basis to people in Africa. Well, if they don't go out and sell something and they cannot go out, they are stuck. They have nothing to eat. So as I always say, so many people have really no idea that this coronavirus, there will be more people dying, not from coronavirus, but actually from, you know, not being able to survive, not be able to put food on the table. And I know the US is very much stricken by that. So you have a high unemployment rate, just like in the Great Depression, Ryan.
Yeah, we do. We have very high personal debt, you know, across the board. So we tend to like things, and sometimes people can't afford things, so they borrow money to buy these things. And I think now, again, just coming back to what is really going to make a difference in people's lives, I think people are going to sort of reset. But I agree with you. I think the worst is probably yet to come, unfortunately. And desperate people do desperate things. I feel for a lot of these people that are in that. I mean, they talk about the average American only having or being about $400 or $500 away from having no money. So that's how tight the cash flow is when you literally live month to month or hand to mouth, as they say. So I think we blew past that probably a month or two ago. And I'm not sure how many more trillions of dollars we're going to need to spend to get this economy back up and going again. But you know, it puts the awareness back on all of our individual shoulders. We talked about this on one of the last calls about taking ownership of your own life and your own future and your own income. So how do you control that? Well, you have to take action. You have to do things to put yourself in that position. You have to try things you've never tried before. You have to step out of your comfort zone, step out of the box, because this is the time when you need to look at that. We all can find ourselves in a point of being very complacent from time to time. And you can look at this COVID thing as a very, very negative thing, or you can look at it as a positive thing from the sense that I think now we're waking up to some of the realities of what can happen, because none of us have lived in the Great Depression, so we don't know what that was like. But I think we're going to get a sense of that, and life is going to change from that perspective.
Yeah, no, I mean, we don't know. I mean, for me, like, of course, I did experience socialism and communism, which of course you don't know, and most of you never, of course, experienced. So I have always a little bit of a different perspective on it myself, and that is, of course, I did grow up. I have had Russian tanks every day on my house, parked tanks, big tanks. So and as a kid, you know, that maybe seemed a little bit funny, but it also seemed scary. But you also were confused. I know what it means to have your phone tapped all the time. I know what it means to have people following you. I know what it means to have a Stasi act file. So what I'm saying with that is, of course, we're getting more and more controlled, unfortunately. And so it's getting, you know, we have you met him, a Chinese friend, most actually Taiwanese, but he always said when he was traveling in the last 10 years throughout the world, and his words were always saying, you know, basically America, the great country, this great country of freedom, of where everything was possible, the big American dream, which is true. Everything was possible. You guys are entrepreneurs, you inventors, you are, I mean, it's just amazing. But of course, you're getting basically step by step ripped off from all of that, and it's moving more so into, sorry to say, but into socialism. What would you say to that?
It's a constant battle. I mean, from a political perspective, yeah, absolutely. There's so many that feel like that's the right way to go. I was just watching the news, and I was watching a guy in Colorado playing soccer or something with his 6-year-old daughter by himself out in the field. Police came up and arrested the guy. So here we go. And I think in Michigan, a guy was pulled off a bus because he wasn't wearing a mask. So yeah, you're right. We're slowly losing our rights, and as you point out, you know, all these additional laws and rules are only handcuffing us, and they're going to stifle that creativity, that spark that we need to be entrepreneurs and to innovate, and that's unfortunate. But yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, which go ahead, Bill. Yeah.
Well, I also think, Ryan and Claudia, I mean, we don't have to be an economist or, you know, have a PhD to understand the world's in crisis. We're all experiencing that, correct? No matter where we are on this particular planet.
Yeah.
I always believe you can, as Ryan said earlier on, you can become a victim to the circumstances, or you can actually sit back, assess your situation, reevaluate your situation, and make action. I mean, what options do people really have? If Ryan's correct of what he said, that most people have less than $400 away from being broke in savings, well, you could say that's pretty much exhausted now. So they're living on the last legs of the credit card debt before that gets shut down. In one respect, I mean, this is a catastrophe. But people have been living from debt. People have been living beyond their means for such a long time. They're buying things for money they don't own, and eventually that's got to be paid back, or the debt's got to be wiped. Okay, banks don't generally like to have their debt wiped. So, you know, it's a time for contemplation. It's a time for change. I think this is a reset for humanity. It's making us think deeply, which we have not done maybe for a long time. And maybe some of this, I'm not saying the COVID-19 virus is overdue, but us rethinking the situation where we are on this planet, maybe that's well overdue, how we live, and we've been living beyond our means for a long time. But there is things that you can do, and I'm sure you're going to move into that shortly, Claudia, with Utopian Global and the assets that we have, because, you know, here you have the ability to be able to, regardless of where you are, what your financial standing is. I always talk about this. I got introduced to this industry in a crisis. You might remember, I think you were living in Australia then, Ryan, doing oil and gas in Australia at the end of the, was it early 1990s? Were you there then, or a bit after that?
I was there around 2001.
Okay, well, about a decade before that, we had the recession that we were meant to have. You probably remember our Prime Minister saying that we had interest rates of over 20%. So it was a big financial crisis, and of course, I was burdened with debt. But it was from that financial crisis when I had my second hotel that a businessman introduced me to a different concept. I was open to learn new things. But as a result of being open to learning new things and getting some coaching and understanding this particular industry, I went to London. I met the owners of the American owners of this big company and got the rights to take it to Germany. And some years later, it didn't happen overnight, we were generating a six-figure income with an organization of over 50,000 members. So here we are, living in Australia, running a hotel, other part of the world, all of us working as a team. I mean, success is a team. And you have the ability here to generate an income and own real assets. And it's hard assets that people are actually moving to right now. I was listening to a fund manager this morning. His breakdown was out of his particular fund, which he's been doing for really the last year. He said 15% cash. You need to be liquid. Cash is important in these times. In fact, cash is probably king in one respect. You know, there's going to be great opportunities coming up with businesses and different things over the next 12 months, I would say, due to this particular crisis. So cash is being liquid. The cash is king. 15% he's been putting into metals, precious metals. It's a safe haven, as Ryan said. He's thinking of gold straight away. Commodities, of course. Then he went on to other particular assets. I think he even mentioned Bitcoin, believe it or not. But anyway, that's what I'm saying, diversification. But the things that stood out was being liquid with cash, and secondly, buying gold and other hard assets such as oil and gas, which are actually involved in assets that are real, not pie in the sky stories. Something that's real, something that's income generating. So this is what we have here with Utopian Global, and we have a global business opportunity for everyone to be able to get involved and own commodities, regardless of what your financial situation. If you can't afford, let's say you had to have two people join up and get involved with us, it's costing you probably 70 cents each per day. Now, if you're in a situation where you can't afford 70 cents per day, well, blessings to you, you're in deep trouble, to be quite honest, okay, in today's world. So we have something here that's very, very, very powerful. I had calls earlier today with Kenya, and I know you speak to Uganda and South Africa every day, Claudia, and of course Kenya as well. So we have something that's extremely powerful once you understand the leverage that you can get from it. And to be successful during these times, you need to have leverage. Now, it's also the timing of the market. Ryan spoke about oil and gas, but gold, we're heading into another bull market in gold. Now, the last bull market ran from 2003. I got involved, actually, I met the bullion banker, Philip Judge, in 2003. I think it started in 2001, actually. But 2003, I met the bullion banker in Zurich, got involved with gold. Gold at that time was maybe, actually in 2001, it was about $255 an ounce before it broke out and started rallying. It went up to $1,920 an ounce in 2011. So that's about a 7x on your money, on the exchange rate to the US dollar on gold. Now, if we continue where we are now from the last low of where gold was, which may have been around 1,200, and you put a 7x on that, that's putting gold around the 3,000 mark. And even when you look at the last rally, it was about 1,000 points. If we add the 1,000 points to the 1920, that's going to push us just under 3,000. So the 3,000 is not a bad target over the next few years where gold could be. How fast it gets there, I don't know, but I think it's certainly heading there. Silver, it lagged, but actually had a expansion rate of about 10x on your money. You know, I think silver was around $4 or $5 an ounce back in 2001, 2002, ran up to just under $50. I think it was $49.80 or something like that. So there was a 10x on your money. Now, if we experience the same from the last low on silver, let's say it was a $9, even if it was the $11 one, let's say it's the 10x, we're still looking at around about the $50 mark again, and it's broken $50 just about twice. It hit $50 in 1980, just under it, hit $50 in 2011, and what's it at the moment? It's just under $16. So these metals, I think, as a safe haven, is fantastic. But you've got to look at this as long term. And if you're in the US, every time you buy a package, with Utopian Global, you're getting gold and silver included in that. Everyone outside the US, you have the option to take your commissions and convert it to precious metals. So I think the safe haven of precious metals and assets such as STORH, providing what STORH is building, is fantastic. It's a good, solid, hard asset trend to be involved in, and it's affordable and low risk for most people.
Thanks, Bill, because look at my next slide I have put up there, and then we're going to go into the presentation of course, Utopian Global. So since, of course, we're getting a lot of questions what to do with our superannuation funds from all over the world. I mean, lots of Australians, they don't know how to get it out. You have people from New Zealand, US, etc., etc. And you already said, like, it's really important to have a safe haven, but also to be in a cash position. Now, this is some articles I pulled up here from the Morning Star, actually titled in the UK and the news at banks. I mean, it's pretty. Those are pretty, how would I say, scary things, statements there. I mean, we have experienced, you and I, and of course the people here, we have experienced Bank of Cyprus, or the banks in Cyprus getting shut down. I mean, Argentina, I remember it very, very well when they had the Corralito there. All of a sudden, you know, nobody could get their cash out. It was basically gone. So here, of course, we talk about shares, and UK banks have fallen sharply after, of course, the regulators forced them to cancel dividends on 2019, 2020 in response of coronavirus. And of course, and even share buybacks. Now, we all know, and Ryan mentioned it a little bit as well, that the last 10 years, really since the bubble, it was a steady increase in the stocks and shares, but really without a correlation to the actual real value. I mean, every company, or most of the companies, they actually just expanded, grow in the share market, but not really in real value. And we have seen it sharply coming down. But the question is really here, what I want to get to it is, how can it be that we had almost 40, in some countries 35 retrace, in some countries over 40% retrace in the stock market? Now the stock market is almost back to where it was, but yet the economy is shut down. Yet nothing works. Whole industries are shut down. Everything is shut down worldwide. How can the share market go back to where it, you know, to its low in mid of March? So when they had this, how can this be possible? Because obviously of printing of money, correct?
Well, I think Ryan can respond to this, but primarily you've got to ask who's buying all the shares. It's probably the buybacks from the expansion of the monetary supply. It's just a circulation within the same Wall Street system in one sense, but it's illusionary. And okay, the market did pull back 35%. Now it's mostly recovered, but I'll be very nervous. I'm certainly not putting any money in equities, that's for sure, myself. But we are not financial advisors here regarding people's superannuation funds. We're not giving anyone advice regarding that. You have to get your own expert advice. But we're a believer in hard assets. I mean, gold, silver, oil has never gone to zero. And the other thing is, when you look at the banks fractionize your holdings. You know, for every $10 you put in a bank or whatever it might be, they're lending 90% of that out. So it's fractionized. So run on banks can happen. You know, if everyone in Utopian Global today put your sell back orders in or delivery orders in for your gold, we would be able to honor that because we don't fractionize on it. It's all there, 100% of it held in hard assets. That's the important thing. Is what happens in these times. We even saw some articles on the COMEX and different things on the futures contracts. They don't have sufficient hold. That they actually, it could send them broke because there's so many positions open, and they actually probably 90%, 99% of futures contracts on any precious metal position are not exercised, meaning that they don't take physical delivery. Now that went from 99% maybe only back to, I don't know, 95%. That could be enough just to actually make the system collapse because there's too many contracts, too many claims on there's just not enough precious metals out there, which is just going to drive the price crazy. So if you own gold, you'll do very well out of it. So it's important that you involve with things where the gold is actually 100% there. can be shipped at any time to you. If it can't be shipped to you because of the country you're in, we can sell back and convert back to cash very quickly to you. And that's exactly what we do. This.
Absolutely. I was just moving it already to the next because you just said it. Yeah. That's exactly what we do here with, of course, the platform, which is so amazing, because it's really working since 2008. I myself have taken position. I even have been collecting it at the storage facility in Switzerland. I made a video out of it as well. We had other people also go there and collect it. We have been shipping really worldwide, except of course the countries we cannot ship, which is pretty, I mean, amazing. This is really a really very solid and great platform. Now, is it always the most prudent thing to do to have it shipped, to have it physically there? Or is it in some cases better to actually have it stored? Maybe Bill, you want to answer that, because I get often this question.
Well, it's a great question. Everything's about risk management, isn't it? Now, if I have this in my hand, this ounce of gold, which is $1,747, it's in my hand. It's unencumbered, it's real wealth, it's mine. So the risk is mine. If I put it in the wrong place or lose it, that's my risk. But I'll be very truthful with you. If you hold it at Utopian Global, it's what we call counterparty risk. So our company is a counterparty risk to you. So how do you remove that counterparty risk? First of all, let me explain why that counterparty risk is actually involved. Because most of our members, to have an allocated account with Lumit's International Storage Facility, first you've got to be approved, and it costs thousands of dollars per year just to have an account open with them, just in administration fees. So what we do is our company is the allocated account, which is approved for all the regulations and everything there. We're approved for that, and we hold your precious metals under our account. And then we have a sub account, which we know that you have X amount of gold and silver, Claudia, and all the other members. So we become a counterparty risk to you. Now, if that makes you nervous, and you must think about this, you must be smart about things. You might say, you know what, we have too much risk exposed at this particular company. Maybe we should take physical delivery of some. That's a smart thing to do. But then you need to have a facility where to store that. You know, maybe it's a safe at home, maybe it's this or that. I don't know. And that would minimize your counterparty risk. But by having some with us, it also means it's very, very liquid. It means if you wanted to sell back, you put the order in tonight. Tomorrow it goes before the London Bullion Market refinery price, whatever that sellback price is. That's the price that you get. It's instantly, the amount's instantly pushed to your e-wallet, and within 24, 48 hours, that money's back in your bank account or in your e-wallet. In your Bitcoin account. So it's very, very, very liquid. So the answer to the question is, it's always best to have it, of course. Then there's no counterparty risk, but you need to have the facilities to be able to store it. And unfortunately, many countries of the world, we cannot physically ship. And right now we cannot physically ship because FedEx are just not shipping gold at the moment because they cannot take personal signatures for the deliveries. And there's some countries where we just cannot ship it to. So hopefully that answers the question for people.
Thank you, Bill. It certainly did. So let's just very quickly now move into the part of which Ryan was, of course, talking about. That is the Texas Raccoon Band oil producing field. And that is what, because of our marketing platform, crowdfunding platform through Utopian Global and STORH, we could actually raise the funds so that we could purchase 12% of this asset in Texas, in Raccoon Band, which files under the essential industry, meaning, as Ryan in the other webinar the last week actually said, well, while everything is basically shut down, the oil is running, and it's running 24/7, and we do have a hedge for part of the position in place. So I'm not sure if, Ryan, you're still there and you want to comment something to it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this asset is, you know, it produces 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we don't turn it off. But we are subject to, you know, market prices. And of course, in our case, to sort of hedge against any risk, back months and months ago, we put a hedge out at $50. Of course, that expires in July. So we're hoping that either we can put additional hedges on as things improve, which we're pretty certain we'll be able to do. So we've got a few months to do that. And so we feel really good about it. But I was telling you and Bill earlier today, we had a call earlier, and we were sort of chatting about, you know, these hedges. And of course, right now it looks really smart, but you know, when we put these hedges on, there were some talking heads out there thinking that Trump was going to go to war with Iran and that oil prices could go to $80, $90. And in that case, we wouldn't have looked so smart putting a $50 hedge out there and paying the difference. But right now, you know, this is part of the strategy. You put, you know, positions on both sides so you can protect yourself in the event that it does go high. You give yourself some upside. And in this case, if prices dip, you can you're still getting the revenue. And as you point out, you know, our hedging program is solid. I mean, it's not a small company that backs our hedges. It's British Petroleum, who everyone's aware of. And our field now, I mean, I think we've gotten our production up to a little over 800 and something barrels a day. So we're still out there cranking hard. We're making things super efficient. And we're trying to save money everywhere we can. We're not spending money on drilling and developing right now. We're going to push that off to probably the mid to the end of the year as it currently sits, just because of where commodity prices are. We don't want to give any oil away too cheap. There's no point in giving it away. So we're hanging in there. And again, this asset will be around for 25 plus years. So we're all owners in it, which is great. So, and there's some pictures of us from the field there.
Just tell us, Ryan, a little bit. You're speaking about the challenges maybe in the next few months regarding, one is supply, shortage of supply, but secondly the storage. What did you mean by that? Maybe you'd like to explain that, which is also, in one sense, is good for our position.
Yeah, I think in the short term we're going to see tight. I mean, storage is already relatively tight. So in May, there are going to be some areas of the United States and some producers that if they don't have contracts, they're not actually going to be able to sell their oil. And so all this storage, all this stored oil that we're all buying, if you look at it that way, relatively cheap. If you're an airline, you'd want to be buying contracts. You'd want to be buying fuel very, very cheap. If you're a country that's wanting strategic oil position, you'd want to be buying really cheap. So everyone's storing all this oil that's being produced, and at some point that's going to move out onto the market. But as I pointed out earlier, these low prices, drilling and development is going to slow down. So in a lot of places, especially the United States, where it's mostly shale oil and very, very low margin. So as I mentioned earlier, these plays do not work, or these projects don't work, not ours, I'm saying theirs. These shale plays where they're fracking below 45, sometimes even as high as $55 per barrel. They just wouldn't drill the reserves. They're not, they have zero value below that. So production will fall off. And on the other side of that, I think we're going to see a supply issue on the other side. I think we're going to see not enough supply. So once the economy gets rolling again and we see the demand pick up, at some point, we're not going to have enough oil in the market. And I think we're going to see a significant price increase. So this could help us out on the other side of the equation as we move forward. So I think that's what we're in for.
The other thing which I like as an investor, Ryan, very, very much, and of course I always speak about risk management, is that it's great when operators have skin in the game. And of course some of the operators who are the operators of the actual site, engineers and geologists, they're also in one sense major owners on this particular asset. So this asset's been managed by a highly experienced team who actually have skin in the game, and that's really fantastic as well.
Yeah, they put their own money up to buy their own interest, and they're out there operating it as if it is theirs, because it is. And for them, it's their income. It's how they pay their bills. It's how they send their kids to school. It's how they save for retirement, is this field, and of course other assets too. But you're right, this is their job. This is their, and not only that, they take a big responsibility in the people they hire that are out there running and operating this thing on a daily basis. So, you know, these people are treated like family. And so obviously keeping them employed is very, very important. So the more efficient we run the field, the more cash there is to do things, and, you know, keeping everything moving. So that's what makes this a great and unique opportunity.
And Ryan, moving now on, of course, to very quickly to the polystream, of course. So you had put an announcement, or STORH had put an announcement out today again, that you did some deals with some ocean companies.
I did, yeah. It's something I've sort of alluded to probably a couple months ago, maybe even more, but something we kind of been working on. I wanted to send out an announcement to solidify. We did reach an agreement to collaborate with an ocean cleaner company. So Ocean Cleaners Technology, they have boats out in the ocean right now. They sell to municipalities and various government entities with a unique technology to basically clean up this microplastics from the ocean. And so we're collaborating on a bunch of ideas in terms of how we can integrate our various differences in supply chain and make the world a better place, while at the same time making both of our processes more efficient, more profitable. So it's a unique opportunity. Please go read about it. I don't know if you guys have reposted it, but I know a lot of people are sharing it. And of course, please join our Telegram channel if you haven't already to get that news if you're on Telegram. If not, I'm sure there are plenty of channels that you have organized for them, Claudia.
There are plenty of channels, that is for sure. All right.
I know that.
Yes, you just got to follow us on, of course, Utopian Global Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Telegram, and Telegram, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. So, I mean, come on, it's a lot of channels.
Yeah, you got it covered.
We need, I did hear from people, they want us or you guys to come on this TikTok, whatever thing, video thing, but I'm not sure if you're up to for doing that. So
well, I'm sure I'll get pulled and dragged into it, kicking and screaming nonetheless, just like I did Instagram and the others. But no, great, that's good.
Is TikTok an asset that we buy into? What is it?
Well, you know what? They say it's the most growing video or short video platform, right? So maybe it is. So, anyhow, let's go and move, of course, into part of that store is, of course, the polystream, which, of course, we STORH want to be a big part of that, meaning building those polystream plants which recycle that plastic. Another asset, of course, is this mineral reclamation, and so looking into different mineral projects where obviously you can mine for minerals, but at the same time do good for the environment with this new technology, which is the cleaning up process, so which is really, really great. And of course, all this is going to bring money to STORH, therefore grow the company value, the asset value, your asset value, because you're a stakeholder if you own STORH, and eventually that the aim is to list on an exchange, of course, if the market is under right circumstances, conditions, and we have, of course, done which we wanted to, or achieve those goals what we wanted to achieve. So right now, the market conditions, I think it would be just crazy to launch, wouldn't it?
Yeah, right now is not the best time, right? Because the whole thing is you want the marketing behind it, so you want visibility, and I think right now everyone's scrambling to even understand their own situation, without having to look for new opportunities and try to understand it. So yeah, our timing's a little bit has been altered here. We don't know what it looks like, but we still have that. This is part of our plan ultimately, is to be able to float this company and list to give liquidity to shareholders and be able to raise capital from bigger sources.
Exactly.
But with that said, just quickly, Claudia and Ryan, this is the whole purpose of buying Raccoon Bend. There's a foundational asset there that's income generating for people.
That's right.
So even if this does take longer, it doesn't really make any difference. The point is that we're going to have income being produced from the Raccoon Bend asset. So people own something real now, not just an idea in the sky. They own something that is tangible, that is real, that's producing. So that was a whole plan behind this, of course.
Yeah.
And the last one I just want to make on that is what Ryan alluded to earlier on, is that it's during these harsh times that we're seeing changes in markets and that around the world, where if you have assets, tokens, coins, shares, whatever it might be, and if it's just a story and it's not backed by any particular asset, they can go to zero. And guess what? I've actually experienced it myself. I'm sure a few people on this call probably have as well. So, but being involved with STORH, which is an asset-backed token, digital share, you are protected. We have real assets, income-producing assets, which is real. But and that's the point Ryan was trying to make earlier on. You look at the 2017 expansion of ICOs, initial coin offerings, most of those failed, billions of dollars lost. We have something that's backing that particular token, that share. And to me, that's absolutely fantastic. That's risk management. And when you buy into things, you must evaluate all these types of things. And this is what Ryan's been working on. Hedging plan for the prices of oil and gas. This is smart business management. This is really, really imprudent that you know that your teams are doing that. So thanks, Ryan.
Thank you,
Happy to
Ryan.
do it, but just like we mentioned in the field, you know, I'm an owner in this too. So we're all in this together. We're all rowing in the same direction, and we know what we need to achieve. We need to continue to grow the business.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, guys, for the great interview. I'm going to now run for exactly 7 minutes, just a little bit how you guys now can earn money, how you can get involved, how you can create cash flow, how you can create an online business from home. But before that, before you guys drop on Thursday, actually this Thursday, we have Dr. Blue. I think he's on the call. Hello, Dr. Blue. We have him doing, again, one of his excellent presentations at noon EST time. Is it noon? Yeah, noon EST time. And this is at 6 o'clock German, 5 o'clock UK time, about his excellent presentations on gold, silver, and of course, wealth. His wealth coaching 1 hour program. So you all going to be invited. You're going to get an invitation as well for that. If you know people who need to hear this information, you got to share this information. You got to send them to this call. This will be a very much powerful call on this Thursday. So with that, again, Ryan and Bill, thank you so much. I'm going to just very quickly run this now through here, how to get involved as a customer, as an affiliate. Okay.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. So how can you get involved here in this opportunity? You see here as a customer or as an affiliate. Well, as a customer, you can purchase gold or silver from as little as 25 euros onwards. And you get, of course, gold for it. Gold at what? Gold just 8 as a customer, 8% above spot price. As an affiliate, you get it, of course, wholesale at 3% above spot price. You can purchase STORH from 50 euro onwards, and as you heard Ryan speaking, you will get cash payouts from the production of the oil field and in this moment, and eventually you want to launch on an exchange that you can make a multiple on it. But then, of course, we do have the affiliate program. So every time you share it with people, every time you have customers who purchase gold or silver, you as an affiliate, you're going to get paid 5% on these customers sales you do for precious metals. You're going to get greatly rewarded every time. 14% you get somebody into STORH, and of course you have another 6 ways to actually get paid as an affiliate to make cash now, because as Bill mentioned, you have to have cash now. Yes, you need to have gold or silver. Yes, it's good to be in assets. It's also good to have cash flow now. And as Ryan mentioned, a lot of Americans, his fellow people, which he feels very much for, are $400 or $500 away from basically not being able to provide anymore, and that is pretty sad. So as you see here, we have different packages, and this says here non-US packages, because in the US there is no STORH. In the US basically is gold or silver, gold or and silver, and in the other packages are is STORH, and of course you get the wholesale for gold or silver. You get a buyback, meaning you have no fee in your system. You get LBMA storage, you get physical delivery, you get daily referral income, premium education coaching program. That's all what you get in order to become an affiliate. Purchase your affiliation, and you see here the amount you need to get your affiliation, and of course you get your STORH. When you join with those packages, as you see, from 390 euros onwards, you get way more STORH, so way more assets. I encourage you, if you can, at least get in with this package. All the US packages, they are replaced by precious metals. Here you see they get precious metals inside, and of course all the rest as well except STORH. We have also higher packages for investors, quantum packages we call them, starting at 9K for non-US and as well for US. So as higher those packages, obviously as more goes into the actual asset or gold and silver. Now, we like to work with the power of free or promote the power of free. Pretty simple. So you get started, your business. You invest in your business, you open your business, you join up, you own an online business, you get all those tools, materials, trainings, whatnot. Yesterday, Sean in the UK did a great training on how to set up your Facebook fan page. Last week, we had a great training on how to do your blog. So you get all those individual affiliates information as well, because again, at the end of the day, we are a team, and together everyone achieves more. So with free people, when you, let's say, put in 99 or 1,500, like in this example, you get in free people who like what you do, what we do. You basically have your initial money recovered, plus you own your assets. We have different ways to make, of course, money. That is from the marketing, multiple ways to earn, as we see here. And there's this fast start commission, which pay up to 40%. We have direct bonuses, as I said, for the sales of precious metals, 5% for customers from when they buy precious metals, and 1% from affiliates. You have all kinds of incentives from travel and so on. We have uni-level commissions where you can get paid up to your 7th level, and you have leadership bonuses. Now, we encourage everybody to join the 50 euro asset accumulation plan, monthly accumulation plan. Why? Well, because again, I believe after, when we come home from this crisis, when it's over and finished with, I believe there will be a shift in people in the way people spend money. They certainly have learned to save now, I believe so, or they're learning to save. They're not spending any more in food, going out to restaurants, going out to theaters, buying all this stuff, because they can't, or they can, okay, they can use online, Amazon, but yet you see a huge drop in things which are purchased, and very often those are things. They are not producing anything, or they are not accumulating wealth. They are just things we often don't need. And so we always have been taught, at least myself, I have been taught, you cannot buy something which you don't have the money to buy for. So you got to save first. They always told me, child, you have to do that. So, and it's even in the Bible, you got to put money aside for saving. And so I think this will be one of the things which is going to change after COVID, that people will probably start getting in the habit of saving. And with our 50 euro asset accumulation plan, as it says, you are actually accumulating assets. So let me just jump in here how this looks like. So let's say you are an affiliate, and you have recommended to a few people, customers who are purchasing, affiliates who are purchasing, and you just taught them to get on the habit of savings, just putting money, 50 euro a month aside. So if you shared it with 5 people, and those 5 people are your customers or are your affiliates, they have their 50 euro asset accumulation plan, be it in silver, be it in gold, be it in STORH. You making 14% of each of those 50 euros. That's 35 euros from 5 people. Okay, not big deal, but still you almost have your asset accumulation plan paid for. Now, if you are good and helping and helpful, and again, this is all about building community, guys. This is not anymore, forget that, it's just ego, it's just for me, it's just what I make the most. No, we are changing, I believe, very much into the in the universe, that we are finally changing and helping our neighbors, and being friendly to our neighbors, and being friendly to our community, instead of just this ego and here who gets first. I really don't like that so much. We have to build something as a community. We are crowdfunding money in order to buy assets together, all of us, that all of you become stakeholders. So let me get into that. 5 people just sharing it with 5 people. Well, now you're 25 people buying here in your 2nd level a 50 euro monthly asset accumulation plan. You didn't even introduce them. The 5 you trained introduced them. But because you trained them well, because you taught them well, well, now those 25, they're also purchasing, and you get a little bit of an effort of them doing that. They benefiting, you benefiting. It's a win-win. So you're making another 175 euro. Now, duplicate this to the 3rd level, you're now 125 people, and now you're not getting any more than 14%, you're getting a 3%, but this is still amazing, so that adds another 187.50 euro. So all what you did is basically you shared it with 5 people, taught them well, and they share it the way down. And so now you have 397 euros. That is more than $400. That exactly is what Ryan said. This is what most people just have left right now because of all their debt they have. So this is a really amazing concept, and Bill had made some good videos on that so that you understand the power of leverage. As Einstein said, this is the 8th world wonder. So I have here a table which I just did new for you guys so that you see actually your income per uni level per package. So we have this, of course, for STORH and as well for the gold or silver. You see the asset accumulation plan. I already showed you that, but this is what it pays then the levels down. So let's say, of course, that is just one person. So one person buying, let's say, a 99 euro package that pays on the uni level, but that's just one bonus. That's not the fast start bonus. That's not all the other bonus. That's just the uni level bonus. On the 99 euro package, that pays in the uni level, in the first level, 7 euros, in the second 7, and then down here on each level, 1.50 euro. So that means actually you could get paid from somebody, you know, who's many levels down, and you still got paid on. You see this in the basic plus, the member, elite, pro, all-star package. You see actually the levels down, you're going to get paid when 390 euro package is actually sold, which is pretty amazing. So let's say you're getting here 4.07 euro, but I'm sure you don't even know that person who actually purchased at 390. You're still getting something paid on that. This is on the packages here. We have it in gold or silver, the same deal here. The money which is paid each and every level up to level 7. So let me just now go into the rewards. Of course, you see we do have different rewards: smartwatch, smartphone, laptop, and some country-specific rewards. But how would you like to get your own asset accumulation plan for free? Well, simply put 8 customers or affiliates anywhere in your first or second level, and your monthly asset accumulation plan is already free. It's already paid for. And for less, it's built out in the beginning than €1.65. You have available to you an opportunity where you can have ownership in real income producing assets, access to real wealth protection, which is gold or silver, a savings accumulation plan denominated in real assets. You don't accumulate shampoos or I don't know, other stuff. You accumulate gold, silver, or assets. You can achieve infinite returns on your investments, of course, understanding on the people you introduce and whoever they introduce. You don't know how much. That's why we say infinite returns. You can own a global business. Now nobody can go out. Well, you can make money from home. That's what we do. I do webinars on a daily basis. Every morning, we do every morning webinars with different people or Zooms, midday, in the afternoon. Now in a few hours starts the Spanish, the Portuguese. We have all day long things happening in the global community, different people, different presentations, different characters. It's amazing. Of course, you also get residual income from the marketing efforts and from the team of independent business owners who actually go to work for you for free. And of course, you can enjoy added tax benefits. So the time to build wealth with passive income starts now, starts today, because what other plan do you actually have? So if you have been the first time to this webinar and you have been introduced, well, contact your affiliate, the person who introduced you to this webinar, contact them, get them ask more questions if you need to have more questions answered, or just join now and start inviting others. Find us on Facebook at Utopian Global or YouTube at Utopian Global as well. And again, important notice that we cannot sell STORH in the United States. It's not licensed there. There's no guarantee that you will earn any money using the techniques of the duplication. Of course, it depends upon you and how well you are coachable. And of course, Utopian Global delivers education. These materials are not to be interpreted as a promise or guarantee on earnings, and putting this as financial advice. We are not financial advisors, and we have a 14 days money back guarantee. How great is that? So with that, I want to say thank you. Time to get in to own real assets, real income, and real lifestyle is now. We see a few hands here. So thank you all you guys. I know I have to acknowledge a few people here. So great to have you all on the call. Wow, lots of people. Dr. Blue, fantastic. I'm looking forward. First day, that is noon. So it is Eastern Standard Time, and it will be on Zoom. Zoom will be posted. We have many Anthony's here. That's good. Adrian, thanks. Audrey, we have Ayel. Hey, Ayel, very good to be on the call. Bill, Brian, great. Dimitri, Evelyn, Julia, Mats, Mulikat, Ned, fantastic to be on the call. Paula, Brew, Robbie, Shana, Shirley, Stafford, Stephen, Trivanti, Zachary. Boy, so many more people. Anyway, don't have time to read them all out now. Fantastic, you guys doing a fantastic job here. Thank you so much. Let's get everybody on the call on Thursday, because again, like for me, and I've been since 12 years in this business, I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but when I listen to Dr. Blue, I'm how do you say, enlightened. Am I not? So thank you so much, and thank you, Bill. Fantastic presentation and Q&As.
Thank you, Claudia. Thanks, everyone, and blessings to you all. Stay safe and well. Bye-bye. Thanks, Ryan.